not 9 by 16. So I'm delighted to tell you that this is what we've got. And to the 35 people who've joined early, thank you on what is a pretty shitty day here in Western Australia. Rainy, grey, cold. And Daniel Ricciardo would be enduring this weather as well. Let's see some of your comments here. By the way, if you want to have your comments go to the head of the queue, make sure you use Super Chat. I gather at some point these comments will come up. And I was going to wait till we get a few more before I launch into the ridiculous happenings of last night and last weekend in Singapore, where we last raced. What is the time here? It is nearly 10:15. Oh, it is 10:15 in about 30 seconds now. Super Chat, good. Here we go. Here's your messages coming up now. Thank you to those people who have joined early. We've been on air for 1 minute and 11 seconds. We are also some weeks away from our next race, so there will be a dearth of F1 for us. I can't wait for Austin. I think it's going to be a remarkable weekend. It is a sprint weekend, which means we get 2 races. I'm still not seeing any of your comments. I wonder why. Just one problem after the other. Live chat, all messages are visible. Good. Oh, here we go. Kia ora, you now have a driver in Formula One. Watching MotoGP's on, is it? Of course, they've been bought by Liberty Media. And if you saw my video the other day, Liberty have not changed their situation with the grid girls in MotoGP. They're allowing that, but of course it doesn't stay in F1. Now, let's go to the happenings of last Sunday. Well, let's go the whole race. And I'll just recap quickly. Thursday, we're expecting an announcement that Daniel was be leaving the team. Didn't get it Thursday. We went Friday, Saturday with nothing. Sunday, of course, he raced. Ended up 18th, the last of all of the finishers. And then he sat in his car for quite some time at the end of the race, then got out. He went and did his media commitments, and he was a long time talking to media, sometimes up to 15 minutes with a particular network. Then he went back to the hospitality suite where he had a little guard of honour from a lot of the crew. Not all, but a number. He then had some time away from things, went over to the garage. Lando Norris came down and saw him. Yuki went in and saw him. Laurent Mekies went in and saw him. We couldn't see him from the front of the garage. We'd have no idea what was going on in there. There was a Netflix camera crew, and I can tell you that because from the front of the garage, I could see their boom mic sticking into shot like that. They're sticking in, wandering around in the back. Now, I gather they were in the same room as him. Thank you, Team Red Guts. My pleasure, my pleasure. A member for 12 months too. And then eventually Yuki left with his family, and his dad had a broken foot. I said, what did your dad do? He said, oh, he's stupid. He can sometimes be a bit dismissive of his family, but they are beautiful people. And then Lando left, and that left, as far as I can tell, Daniel the only person in the paddock. And then he went back to the hospitality suite, went upstairs for a long time, and my son and I, actually Jace, I put in charge of waiting out there for an hour, and I came back and I said, what's going on? He said, nothing. And then another hour, I went back and edited, and another hour later, he said, better come down. So I came down and waited for 30 minutes, and nothing happened. Then I went back and edited. Then I came down and waited for another hour, and eventually he came out and gave his hat that he was wearing to a fan, signed it for him and gave him to a fan, and then he walked out, and I got these, you might have seen those pictures, which I think are pretty important pictures in the whole scheme of things. Now, that was Sunday night. Still no announcement, but it was obvious by Daniel's behaviour and everyone else in the paddock that he was finishing up with the team. And last night, it must be about just prior to midnight, I think, my time, Jace rings me and I wake up and he says, Daniel's just been announced as leaving, so I go and have a look at the statement. And the first thing I see is from VCARB with Lawrence Mekies thanking Daniel. There's no Daniel is leaving us effective Singapore, it's just thank you. I thought this is a bit funny, and I'm looking through all the comments, and they are savage, absolutely savage at how he was treated. Not that I think Laurent Mekies had much to do with it. I think it's probably come from Red Bull, because Laurent wasn't that obvious, wasn't that sure about what was happening at the start of the weekend, and then at the end of the weekend he said it might be his last race. And then I went to the link in the story to go and see the full statement, and yes, Daniel was leaving, and a few minutes later they put up a post saying that Liam will be replacing him, which is great for Liam, but unfortunately Liam has copped a whole lot of negativity because of the way this was so poorly handled. And it's got shades of Oscar Piastri's entry into the sport, where he too was put in a difficult situation because he took Daniel's seat and it wasn't done very nicely. Well, people deemed it wasn't done nicely, but of course now everyone's forgotten about that, and Oscar's now a champion in the eyes of most. And without a doubt, people will forget this at some point, and that's certainly what Red Bull are hoping, that it's quicker rather than... we're hoping that people forget quicker. So why did they do it this way? I've asked a lot of people, and I can't come up with an answer. I think, and this is my gut feel, there could have been a trigger in the contract that, hey, if this doesn't happen on this date, and it might be that Daniel had to finish in a certain position for that race. And so if he finished in that position, he got another race. Maybe, I'm throwing things up here, he didn't finish high enough, didn't have the right result, and so that meant that they had the right to sack him effectively. But Daniel wasn't able to say that. Daniel wasn't able to comment on that. He just had to dance around with those media sessions, and it was pretty sad to watch. But why didn't they come out and be more upfront about, yes, Daniel is leaving the team? Oh, we got these thank you messages. And then if you go and have a look at Daniel's post, there's a post from the team, V-Cup. I think it was just a love heart. And well, my gosh, didn't they get some savaging for that? It was it trite? No, it was... Look, they were on a hiding to nothing. They were never... If they didn't do anything, they would have been hammered. They did something, they were... Really, I think they just have to wear that. And it was of their own doing as such. Going forward, is there a twist? I've been told some stuff that suggests there might be a surprise, but I think a number of things have to fall in line for that to happen. And I won't go into any great detail about that, but if it did, it'd be interesting. There'd be another couple of good videos in that. Right, let's go to your comments. The pipes are calling for Danny, or Danny boy. Yeah, he took off back to Perth on a Qantas flight on Monday. And I know that because he posted, or somebody posted on Instagram, a picture of him in a Qantas seat. And he'd be out at the farm, I imagine now, and away from everything, and he posted last night, well, his people posted last night just after, and it's been huge in terms of the congratulations. Every single driver, just about, every single team, past drivers, anyone who's anyone has commented on his post. Christian Horner put up a post as well. Well, he copped a fair savaging too. So it appears that there is a lot of negativity towards Red Bull and Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. And Visa Cash App was brought, as a sponsor, was brought to the team by Daniel and his management. And they really wanted, and they were fighting, I understand, for Daniel to be at least in the car in Austin, because that is a big race for them. And he's not going to be in that car. Liam Lawson will be in that car. And he'll be excited about it, and I imagine he'll be good. He's already proved that he is capable of driving, and these younger kids are coming through and doing pretty well. You look at Colapinto, he's made some big waves. Behrman did well in the Ferrari. Kimi Antonelli, he crashed a car, but yeah, I think he'll be fine once he gets there. And that leaves us now with just one seat in question. Am I right in saying that? Sergio's is up in the air. So if you say Sauber, Audi, that's one seat, and perhaps there's an opportunity. Could next year Isaac Hadjar be in one of those seats? Could that he be in the Red Bull as Max's partner? Or could Liam take that seat and Isaac go to V-Carb. It's interesting. It's interesting. But the one thing that we can all be sure about is that the public relations side of this exercise was abysmal, an epic fail. And I think it's the sort of thing that might well be taught in PR courses in years to come. Let's go to some of your comments now. Is there a chance Franco beats out Valtteri to the Audi seat? Well, there's three in contention for that. Him, Franco, Bortoletto and Valtteri. But, yeah, well, I think Valtteri's the front runner because of his experience. But who knows? The one thing's for sure, though, this last 6 races, and I spoke to someone yesterday who is very close to Formula One and what's going on, and he seems to think these last 6 races are going to be insane for a variety of reasons. And certainly, there's plenty to report on with Formula One this year. It is not a walkover. Without a doubt, Red Bull have lost the Constructors' Championship. McLaren will win that in a trot. And you'd think that Max, I think, only has to come second in every race, or better, to get him the trophy. But, of course, if Max has a DNF, that really opens things up big time. And if Lando wins, you cut, I think the margin's about 50, isn't it? My son mentioned that yesterday. That would really open a can of worms, wouldn't it? Halve that margin from first to second, and Lando could end up this year's world champion. And you wouldn't have bet money on that at the start of the year. Who brings the biggest money to the teams as a sponsored driver? I can't be only going on what I read, I would guess Checo or Lance. That's my guess. Terry Robertson, I was wondering when you join in, Terry. Hello. What time is it? You're on the East Coast or West Coast? Because it is. I haven't got a clock here. Excuse me. I have a shocking cold. Yeah, if it's East Coast, you're about 10:30 p.m. A lot of people are crying, Nick, about Daniel Ricciardo. But then again, a lot of New Zealanders are joyful because they finally get themselves a driver in F1. And was the last New Zealander, who was that? Was it Bruce McLaren? No, what? I don't know. I'll leave it up to you. 3:27 a.m. in the UK. I'm probably not going to have much of an audience there. 9:30. You must be towards the east. Are you in Las Vegas? No. I don't know where you are, Terry. Let us know. Terry's one of my regulars on this channel. Tip for the grand final. I only know Brisbane's playing, and another out-of-state team. Australians follow Australian rules football, and we have the grand final in Melbourne every year. But half the teams are outside Melbourne, and there are 2 teams from outside Melbourne playing in Melbourne for the grand final. And I've been to several grand finals where the West Coast Eagles have played there. 2 in a row against Sydney, which were ripper games. One we lost, one we won, and by a point each year. 9:30 in Texas, where I'll be in a couple of weeks' time after I go to Manila, which I'm quite excited to see. Taking my wife and son and his girlfriend on a holiday, and that's something we don't do very often. Jonathan Cannon, thanks for sharing my inside paddock insight with your fantastic videos. That's a pleasure, Jonathan. Spelt the same way as Jonathan Wheatley. So let's go to Red Bull again. This year they've lost Jonathan Wheatley, they've lost Adrian Newey, and another chap who I don't know, but I did see the press release. Anyway, high up in the team. That's 3 very big players from a team, and I think there's a bit going on at Milton Keynes. Certainly they are not the team that they were this time last year. And that happens in any sport. You get your highs and your lows, and I think they're definitely on a low. No, I'm not going Philippines Airlines. I'm going Qantas. In fact, it's a status credit run. That's why we're going there. Western Canada, Calgary, where it's quite cold in winter. Red Bull becoming a midfield team. My son said that this morning. F1 is brutal, but the way this has been handled is appalling. And everybody feels for Daniel, I think. It was really fun. I gave him a hug the other night, only because he was hugging everyone. It was very obvious. You don't hug people like that with a tear in your eye when you're coming back next race to do another round. It was just bizarre. I would have liked to have got a shot of Daniel and Lando having a hug. Gustav, another regular, says the whole thing makes Red Bull, Horner, and even a little bit Liam Lawson, no fault of his, look really bad. Also provides ammo for other teams to push F1 to make RB sell a team. Yeah, because there was chat that Red Bull used VCARB to deny Max the fastest lap point, which might have been important. No, sorry, Lando, which might have been important in his tilt for the championship. Yeah, I did. Jim Freeman says here that DR welled up in tears talking to Lawrence in the media pen. And afterwards, he and Lawrence spoke for a time on the balcony of the hospitality suite, or the deck, and then he gave Lawrence a big hug. The Netflix crew was sitting out the front there for a goodly long time. Well, in fact, there was 4 of us photographers out the front in the paddock, and then there was Netflix crew up on the deck, just enjoying a meal from the VCARB kitchen staff. And yeah, Lawrence had a long chat with him. Nate from ESPN was also there. Didn't get to see Danny. He had to take off. And Daniel didn't go the normal route out of the normal swipe gates. He went the swipe gates closest to him, which meant his car was parked in the Paddock Club drive-through area. Not that I think there were any media down the other end. Certainly, if you were interested in the story, you were up with me, with Jace, with 2 other photographers and Netflix out the front of that hospitality suite. And more than one occasion, I said, oh, come on, should we stick this out? We've been here for an awful long time, and perhaps we're getting nowhere. But we're glad we did, because those pics I got, and I'll be honest, on the way out, I said to Daniel, you know, it'd be great, Daniel, if you could just wave over your shoulder. Don't even look back at the camera if you don't want to. Just wave goodbye sort of thing. And he got about 4 metres from me, and he turned around and smiled, which I was delighted for, because it was a genuine smile, and you just don't get enough of those from Daniel. Excuse me a sec. I have a shocking cold. Jesus is King says, Danny Rick will kill it in NASCAR. You'll take him, will you? I'm not sure what we're talking about this morning. Would Daniel go back to a lesser racing category? He's not likely to retire. 35, being a high achiever, you're not going to want to sit around the house or sit around the farm and just look after animals. Now, he'll be doing something. I'm sure his manager, Blake, is fielding offers left, right and centre for next year. And the year on, the CEO of Ricciardo Kart in the UK admitted that Daniel moved to Renault out of greed. That it was a mistake. Well, his manager, Glenn, Daniel, I think, and his people now say that Glenn pushed them and maybe they were too easily persuaded. It was certainly a poor move, and I don't think he enjoyed it that much. He did enjoy his win, though, in Monza. That was a mighty day, because that was in the COVID recovery year. So there were no spectators on the track. It was just us photographers and media. And I got to sing the national anthem and got a look from him directly down my lens. I don't think I was even shooting at that point. I just stopped and enjoyed the moment. But yeah, it was a nice connection. Do I think all the negative feedback on his treatment will have any effect on the outcome of Danny's future? No. I think it'll all be forgotten at some point. It's red hot today because of last night's announcement. And when I woke up, and it's the same with Jace, all of our feed was Gasly's post, Ocon's post, Hamilton's, just post after post was linked with Daniel. they should have gone up Sunday night or even Thursday night. But yeah, to have it extend out for another 4 days, and then for them to do it like they did, it just beggars belief with me. I think I always think the Red Bull is a very clever team when it comes to their marketing, but they've really had to cop it with their efforts over this. Be interesting to see what pans out in Austin on Media Day. Cheers. If you want to get your comment absolutely seen, use Super Chat because I just can't avoid it. It's so big on the screen here. Red Bull lose their head of strategy. Will Courtney, yes, that's his name. And he's going where? Someone will tell me. But without a doubt, there are a lot of people in Red Bull now, who are now sending their resumes to other teams. Because what you've got to understand is when you're winning, as they have been for 3 years, it's a great buzz and everyone's happy. And then suddenly you get this year like this is panning out and you're going to lose the Constructors' Championship. So straight away you're going to lose your team bonus. And that bonus was many thousands of pounds. At the end of the year, hey, congratulations, we won the championship, here's some money for you. And of course everybody wants to get that bonus. So maybe if McLaren provide the same bonus, people are sending their resumes over there. The Oakland A's had their last ever home game today. Also super sad news on two fronts for us F1 fans in and around the Bay Area. Been sobbing all day. All right, Oakland A's. Were they the team from Moneyball? Which was a great movie. And where are they moving? I'll look forward to someone's comment there. Have I read this one? Yes, I read that one. If Checo bins it around Mexico City like he did last year, any chance DR fills the seat to try and save the Constructors title? I think Red Bull have given up on the Constructors, without a doubt. But stranger things have happened. It seems to me all this disaster came because of the power struggle. Well, that hasn't helped. There's no clear leadership. There's just fights. In-house fights. And if you're involved in that, it's tough. You don't know who to support. You want to support the one that's got to win because obviously you get to keep your job perhaps or rise through the ranks. It's a tough business. I'm certainly glad I'm not involved in that side of things. Kim, do a shoey for Daniel. What have I got on here? I wouldn't get much in this Birkenstock, would I? No, I'm not going to do that. I have actually done a champagne thing once on the beach in Abu Dhabi where Ferrari Trent gave me a bottle, a magnum of champagne, and I did the spraying just to see what that was like. But no, I've never done a shoey. If I did, I'd get a new pair of shoes probably and do it with that. Certainly not a sweaty pair. If you have a comment that you want to be seen, Super Chat is the way to go. Was Yoss correct that everyone is leaving because of Horner? I don't know. I don't think it helps when you've got conflict like that. Dan to Indy, his girlfriend wants to work in the US, and she does. In fact, I had a chat with her in Miami, and I think she said she was in the final throes of some paperwork that would allow her to act in the US&A, as Borat would say. Well, what is going to happen with Checo? Will he stay? Should I stay or should I go? We just have to wait for all the answers to these questions, like we had to wait for Daniel's final announcement, which came last night. How many hours ago? Just around 12 hours, 11 or 12 hours. I missed one there. Says Chris Rise. How was Ricciardo treated badly? Didn't he desert the team and they accepted him back? Okay, well, that was another situation, but having come back, I think they owed it to him to not let him leave in the way that he did, and that is him knowing he was out, but not being able to say anything and just looking like a patsy in the paddock. Yeah. What was your comment about on Instagram? Is there another twist? Yeah, there might. Got some information last night that suggests there could be another twist to this whole sorry saga. And we'll have to wait. Look, I wouldn't be betting my house on it, but I'd have an interest in what I heard. And I can't tell you. But know that if something bizarre happens, that I alluded to it. Perhaps that's what I will say. How's the media tone reporting about DR locally? I haven't seen anything. I'm going to be on, if you're in Australia, I'll be on the project tonight. So if you're watching that show, they'll be coming up here and doing a live cross talking about Daniel's career and last weekend. I did notice that Mark Sutton actually saw Daniel at the airport and took a video of him heading to his plane on Monday in Singapore. And they used him to get the fastest lap, yes. He helped out the team there, didn't he? Red Bull helped him out big time. I see something this morning where people were saying maybe he should go to IndyCar with Zach Brown's team and join Paddock O'Ward. What a duo that would be. Two of my favourite people who are so good with fans and so tolerant and excited. Oh, that would be a dream. Next year I would stay on after the Miami race and definitely go to Indianapolis for that race if Daniel ended up there. Perhaps I should book a hotel room now in anticipation. Does Liam have that Red Bull seat guaranteed for 25? No, I don't think that's the case at all. Have you ever gotten any F1 items over your years? I don't know what items you'd be referring to. I have lots of memorabilia, lots and lots of interesting stuff, but from drivers and teams, but maybe not F1 themselves. I have a feeling DR will stick around the paddock. He's just too likeable to leave. Someone was saying he's been offered a job as the job he had at the start of last year, where he was going to be just an ambassador for the team. Yeah, I'm not thinking he's going to want to do that. Not after this bullshit. Between the F1 schedule and their off-season, how much time do F1 drivers actually spend in Monaco? Not very long. I would guess no more than 90 days. I'm probably thinking less than that. I'm not dropping any hints. I've already said enough. Yeah, I play some of them. I play that one there, the big one. My son plays that one, the youngest one. And that one over there is a marimba, and both of them play that. And the drums I can hack around on. I was so happy when Danny came back. Says no matter. I hope they don't try to drag Seb back in and screw over him and Liam too. Yeah, it's an interesting game, isn't it? What do I look forward to most in the US? I love the tipping culture. I love to see a price and then think, right, that's what it's going to cost me. Then pay extra. No, that's a sarcastic comment. I hate that. I just want to see the price and then say, right, I'll pay that. But I do like the fans there. They all speak my language, which is fantastic. And Austin's a real buzz. It's the real motoring sport lover race. It's not the holiday maker in Miami or Vegas. It's a different crowd. And that's, of the three races, that is the most solid in the US. The other two, I think, struggling a little bit this year, Vegas. So you can get some good deals, I think, on accommodation and tickets at the moment, especially corporate tickets. Do I gamble in Vegas, someone asked. Oh, just have a flutter. I won the Burswood Casino Blackjack Tournament. When was it? Before kids? 20 odd years ago. And it was an interesting thing because it was 20 grand Aussie prize money. That's about 12,000 euros, 13,000 US. And it was over 2 nights. And it came down to the last hand. And there was a guy next to me who had so many chips. And I had less than half of his chips. So he had the minimum bet. And I had everything on the last bet. And I got a blackjack and beat him by $5. He was furious. But I was pretty happy and bought half a boat with that. Bond James. You're so right. I must have missed a comment, did I? Does Joe Rogan attend the GP? I don't. Do I know Joe Rogan? Is he the guy that does live streams and interviews? I've not seen him anyway. Coda is by far the most established US race, of course, and the only one with multi-year repeat attendees. Is VCarb going to lose sponsors? It depends what their contracts were. Might be quite interesting to see which logos are on the car in the garage on Wednesday in a couple of weeks when I get there. Lower lap time, who's a driver coach from Perth, says it's a shame to see Danny go. Now, I could have helped. Where were you? What were you doing? Letting him fail. If you want to get your... Oh, yes. Could we please hit the like button? This is something we do normally about this stage of every broadcast, narrowcast. Can you all hit the like button for me, please? And I'll have a drink of water while you smash it. Look at that. Press like. Can I press like? Oh, look at that. We've got an extra 15 or so there. Press the like button, please. It refreshes every now. Whoa, look at that. Well done. Another big jump in likes. Please hit the like button now. There's 805 of you here to see what I've got to say about Daniel's last race. I'll come back to that in a second. But Kevo33 with an underscore. From a business perspective, do you feel pressure each weekend, and are there weekends where the photos you take wouldn't cover you? Well, I don't earn money from just taking photos. I have about 7 different income streams. And some of them do very well one weekend and not so well the next. And that's why you've got to have multiple streams of revenue, such that if there's not enough corporate work that weekend, other stuff picks up the slack. So going back to Sunday night, excuse me, there were forklifts going backwards and forwards in the paddock. And it was quite dangerous because we were standing there waiting outside of the VCarb hospitality suite for all of 3 hours at least. And that's a long time of nothing. Oh, well, there were occasionally punctuation points where things happened. And as I said before, Lando came down. And it's not very often you get a chance to stand around with Lando and have a quick chat. But he was waiting for Daniel. And there was no one around. There was about 4 people, I think. So that was nice. And then Yuki was going in and out of the garage for some reason. I don't think it was anything to do with Daniel. Laurent Meckies, his hands were tied. I mentioned that earlier on. Hello, Albert. Good to see your name pop up. Thank you to all my members who get a whole lot of extras. And now it's hot in here, so I'm taking this jacket off. And when Daniel walked out, as he walked out, and you might have seen one of my photos here, he looked up and there was some signage written underneath. You could read it as you're going out. And I stupidly did not take a photo of it because I referred to it in the video and I couldn't say what was said up there. And it gets taken down pretty quickly, so I couldn't have even gone back the next day. And then we walked up a little bit further and he walked along the side of the paddock, which is outside the paddock, but it's the far wall. And there was some nice signage and greenery in the background. And my very last picture I put up last night on Instagram that I've ever taken of him as an F1 driver, if he remains a non-F1 driver. Yeah, and it was a happy smile from him. And there were only, I think it was just my son and me there. And then some other guys from, I think, 16K followed him out to the car park, but they were mainly doing video. And he got in his car and he left us. Have I had the chance to use Canon's 24 to 105 2.8? And if so, do you like? Is it worth the 3K price, or would you stick with the 24 to 70 and 7200 combo? I haven't used the 24 to 105 2.8, but I've used the F2 one, which is a mighty lens, very heavy. And I don't even take my 70 to 200 anymore. I use the 100 to 300. It's a lot heavier, but my photos are better for using it. So hopefully that gives you some feedback, Mr. Gustav. With your F1 pass, could you do a YouTube live stream? What, from the track? No, not allowed to. I can do 2 minutes. I can do a 2-minute live stream. That's the maximum I can do, and I have to be the subject of that live stream. Thanks, Kim. Where was it? Well, as you know, F1 is a bit, I'm too good for you sometimes, unfortunately. Hoping to help more in the future. Okay, that's our driver coach. Kim, do you think you will ever get Max Verstappen, Prince? Who knows? We chat, And if he says yes, it's on. And if he says no, it's not on. Same with all of them. Sometimes situations change, but we live in hope. 70 to 200 can be too short for track stuff. 1 to 3 is great for Parc Ferme, although it was shit photographing in Singapore because they'd have these spotlights that would swing across, so the driver would be dark, dark, bang, light, and then dark, dark, and then light again. And I was aware of it, and you couldn't have shot manually. You had to shoot in auto and hope the camera was quick enough. But I got nothing of Lando really when he got up on the car after his win the other night. How does Daniel leaving affect V-Carb sponsors? Well, if there's a clause in their contract that if Daniel leaves they can pull out, they could pull out. But yeah, I don't think that V-Carb would have put that in too many contracts. Maybe in Visa Cash App's instance, because Daniel's team or CAA brought them to the table. Yeah, will they be on the car this week, next race? Happy birthday, Dylan. He loves my videos, you know. Well, that's just hearsay, I guess. Any interest to capture Bathurst? Yeah, a lot of interest, but they don't respond to my accreditation requests, so I'm not begging them. 1.4 million followers of mine would be very interested, I think, in a different form of racing. But I think that is the weekend after the grand final, isn't it? Which is, I'm in another country then. Have you noticed Franco's bio is wrong in the... What does it say? It says he was in his second year of F2 and he didn't even finish his first. Thank you very much. I should take a screenshot of that one. Beautiful. Screenshot taken. Yeah. I make plenty of mistakes in the stuff I do, but that's primarily because it's me doing stuff in a rush from the track, whereas F1 has lots of people, and I don't think they're in quite the rush that I am. But hey, we all make mistakes. Daniel's agent worked the contract, so he's getting paid. Daniel through at least the end of 24. Yeah, I don't know what the contracts are. Only two people typically know that, the person who's signing it and the person who, or both people who are signing it, the team and the driver, and their lawyers, etc. Will the amount of backlash spark any action from Red Bull? No, I think they'll just ride it out. That's what happens. They go through a number of days of negative feedback, and they shut up. And at some point, people get angry about something else, and they've forgotten that. It's just a fact of life. I wonder what Daniel's doing today. I reckon he'd be out with the animals. He might even be riding around. He's got a track out there, a really nifty go-kart track, and also a dirt track that he can ride bikes on. And he does have some toys too. Here's a message that has to be read because it's a super chat and it's big on my screen. Who do you think will be the next Indian driver? Look, I don't know any of them. In fact, I did a story on my post yesterday about Spanish because I'm starting my YouTube channel in Spanish language. And I had to look up and see what drivers were Spanish in F2. And I realised that Pepe Martin is Spanish. When can we expect Sauber to announce when they are ready? God knows when that's going to be. How much time do you get to spend at home in Adelaide? Well, I haven't lived in Adelaide since I was 21. I live in Perth. Well, I live in a town outside Perth. But I'll be back here for about 100 days a year. Yes, I'm not voicing in Spanish. Well, yeah, when you watch it, it'll be voiced in Spanish, but it's an automation thing. And I have a company doing that for me to see if we can grow that audience, because I think it's a huge audience. And certainly what I've found is, are there any Argentinians on this feed right now? Because I have never come across an audience so bloody excitable as the Argentinians when I post Franco. They go crazy with their blue and white flag. There we go, straight away. Is that Rocchio? I'll say every permutation. Anyway, thank you for your flags. Gustav says, other series you plan on taking pics of, was that? Other series you plan on taking pics like prior? No. I wouldn't mind doing maybe the Le Mans one year. But 24 races is probably enough. Vamos, Franco. Oh, what is it? Imantente apasionado. Imantente apasionado. How's my Spanish, people? It'll be around the mark, but it won't be great. Do you or the drivers celebrate and let loose a little more after the final race? I don't, because there's nowhere to go in Abu Dhabi at that hour, because it's very late. And the last thing I want to do is leave the island. I just go straight back to the hotel. Look, if there was a bar at the hotel and it was kicking off, mantente apasionado, muy bien, very nice. What that means for those uninitiated is stay passionate. And also, if you say to a man, you have to say apasionado, and to a lady, apasionada. I do know that much. Donde está el baño? There's another phrase that I know. Stupid, long, whining crap. Yep. Maybe you can clarify what many fans here in Thailand would like to know. Does Alex Albon seriously not speak any Thai? Kop kun ka? Kop kun kap? I'll ask him. And do you have to think that there's a lot of people that doesn't speak English here? If you start making content in English, it's going to blow up. Well, all my content's in English. I'm just going to do a dub in Spanish. Kim, I need to give Daniel Ricciardo a hug. Where's his farm? It's in Western Australia. Just door knock 'em all. You'll come across it eventually. And you have to think that there's a lot of people that doesn't speak English here. Oh, that's right. We just had that one. Netflix did a better goodbye than Red Bull or V-Carb. Netflix? Yeah, but you won't see that until next February. And testing's been announced in Bahrain too, guaranteed dates, 26 to 28, which is a bit of a shit because it's such a bastard of a country to get to from this part of the world, expensive, and we go there for 3 days. At least last year we went there for testing and then stayed on for 4 and had a race. So it's better value. I'm interested in my son's take on all this. Tyler,
yes.
What's your take on the Daniel Ricciardo situation?
Where am I? Hello, everyone. I admittedly know very little about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as learned as the other son.
No. Sad. It's undoubtedly sad.
Look, just as a... could you please just show us one of your darts? Hang on, there's a super chat here. Can you please say happy 18th to Dylan? Okay, happy 18th. Didn't I do this? Right, this is our dart board. Yeah. I shouldn't stand in between you and the darts, should I? So let's go behind. Just wait. Rightio, here we go.
Oh, not bad.
Right, let's go and have a look.
Oh, great.
2, 7, 16. That's a shit effort. I'll have one go. One go. It's a good dartboard, this. And there's an app. Oh, that one's not going to work. It doesn't have a metal point.
No, it doesn't.
Here we go. Hang on. Take that up there, would you? And stand near it and so that they can see.
Sure. Which way are we? You got FaceTime?
Oh, shit. That's it. The other one's come up. What did I get? I got 15, 7, 22. I think you beat me, but I only had 2 darts. A little interlude there. Okay, there's a super chat here. Missed you last meet and greet in Vegas last year. How many days will you all be out there? I'll be out there for a goodly long time. And doing a collaboration with Caesar's Palace. And I love that company out there. I did something with them last year and the year before. I'll be reviewing a number of their restaurants, telling you what I think their best meals are. You can get some good value accommodation now, certainly a lot better value than last year. You can get on to Caesar's site or hotels.com. And if you're looking for F1 experiences packages, they might be good value at the moment. I'm surprised how much you walk in the weekend. Yes. What was it? 55 kilometres over 4 days was that other one, Azerbaijan. Do you think the opinions you share here could affect business with Red Bull Racing? No, I think everyone's saying the same thing. Absolutely. Excuse me. And they know it. They've gone that route and they expect a huge kickback, and they've got it. The Win had McLaren cars in the lobby when I was there last. Yeah, the Win is the choice of hotel for most of the drivers. I just watched back the 2018 F1 on DTS. The first Daniel looked back on it. I nearly cry. Yeah, it was pretty emotional last race. My son Jace had a tear in his eye after, not while we were photographing him going out, because at the time you're totally immersed in it and you're somewhat divorced by the fact that you're looking through an eyepiece of a camera. But afterwards, when we walked back to the media centre, yeah, he was a bit emotional, as I think almost everybody was that went up and saw him and gave him a hug. I did like Ted Kravitz's bit too, and I noticed that he had a whole lot of stuff written down. Thank you for the shoeies, thank you for the horse in Austin, that sort of stuff. Do I think Colapinto will get a seat next year? No. Because there's really only one, maybe 2 seats left to go. So I don't think so. I'd love to see him there because I think he's good, he's fun, I get on with him. I'm going to do a nice photo too in Brazil that I think will be interesting. Are you watching the America's Cup? I'm not, but I did see them, and I got invited to go out and do something when I was in Barcelona for a month. Somebody said, oh, we're linked with the America's Cup, but I don't like going out in the water. Unless it's on a luxury big yacht in very calm seas. Now, Super Chat here. I plan on following every F1 race in 2028. What do you think is the best way to do it? I've done a video on that. Go and have a look on my YouTube channel, which is where you are now. Yeah, I've done a video. It's about 5 weeks ago. Cheapest and most expensive way to do it. This is not vodka, mate. It's 11 a.m. and I've got a whopping cold. Yeah, thank you to Onizuka Chan 915 who reiterated what I just said. Disappointed to see the way Red Bull treated Dan. I will no longer support Red Bull Racing. Somebody put on a comment last night that VCarb had gone from 3.3 million followers to 3.2 million on Insta. If they only lost 100,000 followers, that's not a bad result. Given that it was poorly handled, I would have thought a lot more, but there you go. Did Visa Cash App say anything? I haven't seen. Perhaps you can tell me whether Visa Cash App put something up on YouTube. I don't think they get any backlash because they're very much in Daniel's camp, and I think they'd be very dark about the way that was handled. What do you love about the Melbourne F1 race? The Melbourne Walk, the greenery, the food, the free accommodation at my sister-in-law's house, the fact that they all speak the same language with the same dialect. Some of the things. It's a big race too. Physically, it's a big venue, and there are stands and people everywhere, unlike, say, Baku, where there are very small stands dotted around the track. I don't think it'll be difficult for Liam to adjust while receiving the hate. That hate will go. In 2 weeks, there'll be no sign of it. And Liam's focused on driving a car. He's not worried about what people are writing on Facebook or Instagram. And if he is, well, he just stops looking at it. I don't think there'll be any kickback at the track. People won't be booing him or anything. They know they'll be dark that he's taken Daniel's seat, but someone had to take it. Hate should only be focused on Red Bull. well, it is now in big numbers. Never got to see a shoey. I saw several. I saw China, was that 2017 or 18? I saw Monza in 2021. I saw Monaco, Redemption. Yeah, I've seen a number. Quite lovely. And I got a hug from him after the Monza race too. I mentioned that in my video where his dad said, "I'll give Daniel a hug from me," and I mentioned that as he walked down the stairs. "Oh, your dad sends you a hug." So he walked back up and gave me one. And that's what I said to him on Sunday night. I said, "You know, you gave me a hug in Monza, so I owe you a hug." And yeah, he was hugging everyone. And that's a lovely thing to see. I don't think that would have happened. Would that have happened 40 years ago? No. Blokes were blokes back then. You didn't touch, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you want your message seen, get onto Super Chat because they go to the head of the queue. 753 people on here, only four. Yeah, but it's only 465 likes. I think we need another like, please. Hit the like button. Lando, please hit the like button. And Pierre, I see you there. And Esteban, please. And Toto, good to see you on the feed too. Hit the like button, please, Toto. Twice. Oh, don't hit it twice because that just negates the first one you did. There's no chance Daniel's coming out here, Callie, unless he comes with his parents for a meal, and that's he's got better things to do than that. I'm absolutely certain. I'm buying a new lens, and thank you for those people who hit the like button. That's excellent. Still got a few more chances here. I'm buying a new lens for my mirrorless. What am I buying? You're getting a 1-300 Canon. Stunning. I hit the like button. Well, you are a champion, Jackson. Have you heard the rumour of Checo leaving? Yes, I mentioned something about that. Wait, what? Who is Toto and Esteban? They're F1 personalities. They're all on the feed here. I can see them. I get special notifications. And Max. Hello, Max. Kim's a video on Daniel's sort of send-off was better than Visa Cash Apps. Oh, wait, they did not even bother. That's right. That's right. And I think it's too late for them to do it now because anything they put up now, as per their Instagram post, is just lampooned and pilloried and savaged. I'm going to actually ask some of their PR people what the thinking was behind it. Was there a strategy? Why did it play out like that? It just seemed rather insensitive, tough. And when those guys lined up on Sunday night after the race, out the front, there's all VCub staff, not garage staff, but mainly people in the catering. And they gave him a standing ovation as he walked back in. That was the signal to me, because I hadn't... somebody sent me a note saying, "Oh, Daniel's in the press pen and he's in tears." And I went down there, and luckily Jace had been camping out there and got some shots. But that really struck home when I saw that. I thought, he's got to be going. You can't be doing a guard of honour the way they did, and him hugging everyone if he's not going. So it was cruel that they displayed all the signs that he was leaving, but didn't confirm it. It is an absolute PR disaster. Speculation on Daniel's next step. RB made fools of themselves. Team culture, seriously. Yeah, so many comments like that. There's a super chat here. Let's go to that one. CJ with some euros. Thanks for showing the gated F1 environment. Watching since the 80s, new fans are so lucky to have the insight your videos show. Onwards and upwards, yes, and I'm very grateful to F1 who last year provided me with a license that allows me to do limited stuff in the paddock, but certainly more than I was able to do prior. And that gives me a chance to record inside the walls of the racetrack, which I previously didn't have, only for social media and with a number of quite restrictive stipulations, which the most important one is that I have to be the subject of the video. And thank you to Rad for your New Zealand dollars. Not as valuable as Aussie dollars, but still appreciated. Our currency is stronger than theirs by about 12%, I think. Grant from the US. What have you got to say, Grant? I'm going to visit my first GP in Imola next year. Good choice. What experiences do you recommend to get the best out of the weekend? Stay in the city on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday night and go into the centre of town because it's a real buzz. I loved it. In fact, I stay in the centre of the city and I can hear all this carry-on going on. The track is old school, lots of greenery, beautiful. Shading the Kiwis, you reckon? Wow, they're like our little brothers. No glasses, sorry for caps. I'm English and love Danny Rick. I thought he would be world champ. Very few people are world champions. Lots of people get touted, he's the next world champion. But what have we had over the last years? We've had Rosberg, Hamilton, Verstappen, Norris. Oh, not yet. That's in my time. Yeah. What grandstand is the best? I've no idea. I've never sat in a grandstand. Do you notice any restrictions from the local government to different races? No? No, not at all. Governments don't have any effect inside the track. Oscar before Norris, mark my words. Your words have been marked. There you go. I've just marked them. Can you give me an advice on life? Advice on life? Yeah, don't stop working. I never stop working. Oh, when I say never, I'll sleep and veg out for a little bit. But no, every day I do something to advance at the moment, this passion. When I get sick of this, I'll move on to something else. But this is what I'm interested in at the moment. It appears F1 doesn't have many genuine people. If you had to name the most stand-up person in the paddock, who would it be? Stand-up person. I like Ted Kravitz. I get on well with Ted. He's a friend. He's honest. Funny. Who else? Jonathan Wheatley. I think he's a class act. You put me on the spot. Too hard to run through in my mind all the people that might feature. Do you get better photographs from the grandstand or general? Once again, I've not gone out into the public areas. The only time I can remember going out into the public areas is the last turn in Budapest. There's a nice shot with a crowd in front. I go out there. The weather's shit, Albert and Lancelin. Cold and rainy today, but not lovely yesterday. Where else do I go out? I haven't got my list of races. No, I very rarely get out in the public areas. I'll tell you why. If you do it, at a track like Baku, you are buggered because you have to find a spot to come back in with a metal detector, and there's only a couple. And it's a pain in the arse, and that's why we don't tend to go outside. We stay in the moat where we're able to go from place to place. Why don't we ban the energy drinks team? I think the money speaks for that. Have you noticed if the Red Bull garages are more tense? No, I've not seen anything. Surely Seb was in your time. Oh, yeah. But he wasn't world champion when I was photographing. Best dressed F1 parent. Oh, Mr. Sonoda, he just kills it. Who else? Stylishly dressed dads. I'm just running through them. Oh, Oscar's dad is a bit of a labels man. I often see him in his Gucci shirts or his Dolce & Gabbana shoes, and he's a bit of a lad. And I can tell you at the last race in Singapore, he was there with the boys' trip, 10 blokes, all having a lovely time. Good on them. You know any crayfishermen, Lance? I know probably half of them. I sell some of their crayfish on lancelin.com.au. Really think some people within RB wanted to give Dan a shot in the main team, which is why didn't want to announce anything yet. Hey, Kim, do you mind sharing how did you make your way to the F1? Yeah, I went on, found out. I just applied through the F1 accreditation page. Told him what I thought I could do for the sport. Here I am, 7 seasons later. Can Lando win it all this year? No, he can win. 1 DNF from Max, and suddenly it's a very interesting scenario. No, never would I want to work for a team, ever. The upside would be that you get stunning access to your 2 drivers in the garage. The downside is you wouldn't be shooting anyone else. And that's my business model, is to not shoot for one team. It's to report on what I see in the paddock, and that wouldn't play out. Could Charles still win the championship? Yeah, he could, but a lot more would have to go right for him than Lando. How long do you think it'll take Aston Martin to reap the benefits of Newey? 26, maybe 27? Long-term prospect? Yes, it was disrespectful towards Daniel Lucretia. That, to me, it felt like they just hung him out to dry. You can't say anything, but we're sacking you. That's what I thought. What do Australians really think of Americans? They talk loud. We don't like the tipping. But I remember when I was about 18, I went to America, and every shop we'd go into and we'd talk, they go, hey, Martha, come out here and listen to this guy. Say that again. They used to love listening to our accent. So we were a very real novelty back then. I think that was probably a little bit to do with Paul Hogan's Australian tourism campaign. Was that back then in 78? Yeah. I think Australians are well liked by the Americans, and I enjoy visiting the country. It's just unfortunately so expensive for us because our dollar is so weak against the strong US dollar. It used to be, at one stage, we were getting $1 plus, $1.05 for every US dollar. Now we get 66 cents. So that makes it expensive. Does Tomo work for Getty but only shoot for Red Bull? Yes, that is correct. Happy for Liam, sad for Danny. What brand is the piano? That's a Kauai 12 or 10 or something. I've got a smaller one in Perth. What year of F1 was your favourite? Oh, I like 2021. I like that last race of the year. That was a phenomenal thing. And if I'd had my rights to do video back then, my gosh, I could have done some stunning videos about all that carry on that night. Because that was very much like this race, where we just hung around outside, in that case, Red Bull, for hours waiting for an answer. It was an amazing night. To be clear, Daniel is still getting paid not to drive. Who knows? If you've got his contract, have a look through that and see what the termination clauses say. But I doubt anyone's got access to that outside the team and his management. Ken, what's it going to cost me to pay you to shadow you? You can't do it. Unless are you accredited? I don't think you're accredited. Unless you can get accredited, you can't come where we go. The FIA, do they pay for? No, they don't pay for anything. We don't have to pay for tickets. No one pays for tickets. Media get a pass. We don't ever see a ticket, and these people say, "Oh, can you get me a Paddock pass?" No, we don't. We have one pass that sits around our neck. It's got our photo on it, and we use that for every race. We just go race to race, and if I drop it on the ground and someone tries to use it, almost certainly they'll get hammered at the gate because someone will say that's not your picture that scans up, and if you get to it, if you do happen to get in at some point, it'll be cancelled and you won't be able to use it to get out, and then you'll get in trouble. Excuse me. Reading some of your comments here. Strange. Here's another super chat from Rad, or is it R-A-D? I'm coming to the Melbourne GP. What's the best corner to be at? I'm about to order my seats in the grandstand. Oh, best corner. Probably one for the start, and the fact that it's you can see quite a lot. Yeah. But once again, I've not gone to Melbourne as a supporter. I've no idea. I don't know what Daniel's going to do if he's going to join the broadcasting team. And in fact, I don't think Daniel has any idea what he's going to be doing. He'll be fielding offers left, right and centre. Or his management will be, and they'll be coming over to his place at some point if they're not there already, saying, right, here's 7. Any of these take your fancy. And if you're in Australia and you watch The Project, you'll see me on that tonight talking about the drama of the weekend. And you'll say, hey, I saw him do a live stream. Now he's doing the live cross at the same time. They're sending a cameraman from Perth, which is nice because that's about an hour and a half drive for them. Hopefully the internet's good. What other comments do you have here? Do you hear about Logan having a test in IndyCar this year? No, I didn't. I was going to shoot him a note. I was going to do a video too on the way the sport choose through drivers. They come in, the next big thing, da-da-da, and then bang, they're spat out the other end. I don't know whether I've got enough content for 10 minutes on that, but it's interesting. Team Red Guts Paddock access is about 10K for the Legends package for 1 day in the paddock, is that? 1 day pass? Holy shit. 25 to 38 for a 3-day pass from the F1 garage. Yeah, it's not cheap. But then again, if it was cheap, they'll sell it for what they can get, and why wouldn't they? It's their product. They'll know best what it's worth. Excuse me. We're in Western Australia. It's in Lawson. You should get a cardboard Daniel to pop up in the background. What have I got downstairs? I do have lots of stuff in this house. I've got a nice picture of Daniel signed. In fact, the first picture I got signed of Daniel was I met him the year that I went as a guest of Red Bull. Well, I paid for a ticket, and that was 2016, and I got a nice picture of him and me out the back of the garage because that was part of the deal. And then the next year, I was shooting F1, and I got a shot of him in Monaco, and he signed that for me. But I've got a few lovely pics of Daniel, including that gorgeous shot of him coming onto the grid. But there won't be any more now, I don't think. Well, we won't. I don't think it'll be in Austin. Could he be at another race this year, or more races? Could there be another twist coming? Interesting times, huh? Have you ever watched the Red Flags podcast? Yeah, I see little bits pop up on Reels or the other thing, TikTok. Has Jace gotten his permanent accreditation? Well, he will, because he's doing 14 races plus testing this year, which is one more event than he needed to do to get it next year. Is the audio too low? The last 2 live streams we know? I don't think so. Anyone else having a problem? Normally people say stuff if it's not good, but there's no volume control, so you get what you're given with this setup. Are you happy that there are 3 races? Yeah, I know this can't happen. I wish they were all in the same bloody time, one after the other, because there's nonsense of going from Europe to Canada for a week and coming back, and then Australia to US, and then going to Mexico, which is good. That's a short hop, and then down to Brazil is okay. Yeah, well, it could be louder if I sat closer, but then my head's too big on the screen. So you just turn your volume up. Yes, C. Phillips. Tell them how it works. Tell them how it works. Now it's not too low, is it? And now it's very low. Do you think the FIA being against the swearing has something to do with cultural values? Yeah, I think so. I think if you come from a society that doesn't tolerate that to another one that does, you will find it difficult to tolerate whatever that is. Will you ever go to the Daytona 24 Hours in January? Unlikely. In January, I'm in Perth or skiing in Japan. That's typically what I'll be doing. And I have no more interest really doing. I think 24 races is more than enough. If you have a question you want answered, you can demand it. Grab my attention by going to Super Chat. Bring back Bernie, the heyday of F1. We got him back the other day. He was in the paddock with his wife and his youngster. Would Red Bull consider putting Daniel back in Abu Dhabi? Well, let's just wait and see. Kim, where are you at? I'm here. Where are you at, Laksh? Anyone from Argentina with us? If you're from Argentina, besides hitting the like button, in fact, could you all please hit the like button now for me? Please hit the like button. We're at 660. I reckon we get that to 800 quickly. And then, if you're from Argentina, please hit the comment button and show me your Argentinian flag. You must have it on a macro. Yeah, okay, everyone please hit the like button. Like this video, please like this video. Like this video, please. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we've already heard from you, Ricciardo. Have you hit the like button, Ricciardo? When will they add Franco? Oh, France and Germany. We should never ever, oh, thank you very much to you people who hit the like button. We should never go back to Le Castellet. It's a nightmare. Shocking place. Just to get to and from. And one last plea. Oh, thank you to Squibby. Please hit the like button. And the super chats just come in. Why can't Ferrari win an F1 title? I don't know. Probably not enough points in the year. Will you ever do NASCAR again? No, I think I've done that once. That was enough. Oh, it's starting to rain again here. Now, here's Hypersonic Crypto. Glad to see you streaming. I'm still recovering from the Miami GP. Love the content. Nice. And just enjoy that for a second. Back with you. There's a dartboard there. Did I answer that? Oh, yes, I did. Hypersonic Crypto. Glad to see you streaming, yes. Do I know you, Hypersonic Crypto? Some of you people have funny names that I don't associate with your face. How hopeful are you for McLaren next season? I think they'll be the team to beat. Two great drivers. I like Zach too I know he's not a team principal, but he does command tremendous access to the media, and he's an interesting guy. Who is the most interesting F1 driver? Most interesting. There's a few. Lando, Hulkenberg, Oscar, Charles, Carlos, yeah. Look, they're all great guys. Some are quiet, like Sergio and Lance. They don't feel the need to be jumping around, getting in the media's face. Others, like Daniel, were the polar opposite. As a Kiwi living in Perth, I'm stoked and devastated. Yes, that must be quite conflicting. Liam, Daniel. Yeah, Liam's a good kid. And I did ask him last race, when? He goes, mate, it's just so frustrating. And there would have been a whole host of reasons why they couldn't announce it. And I don't think we'll know why, unless somebody's got some inside knowledge. Lando doesn't add for Lego. Of course, Lego's got that great sponsorship with F1. They're going to do Lego releases for all cars. I love them. I have two in my lounge room up here, both hanging on the wall. One signed by Lando and Daniel, that's the 22 McLaren. And the other one signed by Lewis and George. I don't know whether you can hear one of those dogs going crazy out there. Kim says, place on plate. My wife and I were waving to you at turn 1. I know, it was lovely. Turn 1, Singapore turn 1. Yes, were you down to my right and took a photo of me? Someone was in the very front row, down to my right. What time, not the very front row, but the front row in front of the media where we photographed from. Geez, that's an awful bloody place to sit up there. So if you sat in that grandstand, it's so hot and oppressive. It's ugh. Do you think he does IndyCar? Well, I don't know. I don't think Daniel knows what he's going to do, so it's pointless me speculating. When are you getting your new Canon cameras? November. Love the videos of your gear. I'm doing a Ripple one next year. I'm going to spend a lot more time on it. And it's surprised me how popular that video has been. And I have some new stuff this year. And I'm just constantly working on ways to streamline my workflow with my Stream Deck, which is gold. Are you excited for Vegas? I am. I love Vegas. I love the city. I love that you don't need a car. Although having said that, we are getting a car because we like to go to Whole Foods to get our food because it's pretty good value over there. And it's nice to get out of the place in the morning before we go to the track. Tobias, did Danny say anything about what he might do next? Nothing. No, we didn't. I didn't even ask him if this is his last race. I just assumed because I think all the signals that we were given on Sunday night were very clear. It was his last race. At some point, he disappeared for so long inside the hospitality suite that I thought, oh, has he gone out the back way to avoid, albeit 5 of us, out the front waiting? So I went out the back, and you could have easily walked the length of the paddock behind all those hospitality suites, but it's just a bit messy down there, and he would have had to carry bags over stuff. And I thought, no, he hasn't gone. And then eventually somebody came out of the hospitality suite, the V-Cub suite, and I said, is Daniel still there? Yep, he's still there. Great. Because that would have been horrid if he managed to slip out and we didn't get those images that we got, because I think, as I mentioned before, they are quite iconic images of a great moment. And I don't know why no other photographers hung around. I guess it's the end of a weekend, and being Australian, I thought it was more of interest to me. Certainly the Europeans might not have placed as much importance on it. But it was... no, I don't use AI, by the way. I just saw your comment. In any way. My son might use it to write some captions, but no, I don't use it. Yeah, when Jason and I left, because I went back and edited for at least 45 minutes, so we didn't leave the track until 2:30 a.m. And the whole way back, we just talked about what we'd witnessed and how much of an important moment that was for my photography career and for Jace's as a photographer and a fan, and for us as friends of Daniel. It was pretty amazing that I asked him if he could just, as he left, just sort of wave over his shoulder at us for a photo. I did ask that of Nico Hulkenberg when he left in 21, was it? Excuse me. And he kindly did that, and it's a lovely picture. But Daniel didn't do it. Instead, he looked over his shoulder at me with that lovely grin. And you get less than a second to get that photo. And if your settings are wrong or your camera plays up, you won't get it again. And so I'm very thankful that I got it. What effect will Visa Cash App with Danny leaving? Well, it just depends what their contract is. If their contract is, yeah, we'll sponsor you if Danny's there. They've probably got the right to pull out, but I don't know whether V-Carb or Red Bull would have entered into a contract that left them open to that. Actually, you know what? I know a guy. I'm going to contact him. Did you used to run track day driving events in Australia? Run them? No, I used to go in them occasionally. In fact, Audi once took me to Melbourne to do an R8, one day at Port Phillip, at Phillip Island, and dinners and stuff, and that was a great day out driving the R8. What was it like taking photos of Max outside the Rebellion again? Oh, that was interesting because I didn't know why the reporters were clamouring around him. But I did notice that the Red Bull PR girl was trying to move him on to come and do some stuff in the media pen, and he wouldn't. He was stand there, and in the end, Paul Smith came over. He's the head of PR for Red Bull, and just said, no, come on, you got to come. And that put an end to it. But yeah, I got my pictures, and then a friend of mine from Getty came down, and he said, he got excited, and then we walked back together, and he said, why weren't you shooting? I said, what makes you think I didn't get the pictures before you even got there? Oh, okay, right. If Ricciardo would have stayed, not have stayed, in Red Bull, none of this would have been happening. He's the one who destroyed his own career. Yeah, he agrees that he shouldn't. Oh, no, I don't know whether he does agree, but he pretty much agrees that it was a bad move to go to Renault. And it was done for the money. And I don't know what amount of money it would take for you to want to run around towards the back of the field having driven up the front. But anyway, it was a lot of money. Lando and Carlo are that close, yes. And thank you, Scott, for your super chat. It's delightful to see you guys dipping into your pocket to get your comments to the head. What was that thing? Let's the head of the queue. Let's celebrate their first super on a live stream. How do you do that? I don't know. I don't know how you do that. Do you press a button? What do you do? No, I don't know. Easy to say he shouldn't have left in hindsight, of course. Says 4 Macos, my currency ain't worth shit. Where are you from? But I would like to ask for you to stop shitting on the Brazilian GP about the security. Call it as I see it. Just tell you what I see. I love the people. One of the best hotels in the world there. Do you think Danny has a bright future as a possible commentator? Yeah, I don't know. I've not heard him commentate. He did do that podcast with Will Arnett. And I remember he did that in Canada, because it was just outside our media centre. But some people said he wasn't very good on it, but I don't know. I think he knows a lot. His insight would be valued. Not sure how it comes across. Americans sick of DR mugging and foul-mouthed T-shirt salesman. Thank you for that. My favourite PR girl is Checo's Alice Hedworth. She runs the track too. On some nights I see her and a friend heading out there to get some exercise, and full marks to anyone who runs those tracks. The last thing I want to do after walking 15, 20 Ks in a day is to run around a track. There's no appeal to me. Would you like to be invited to one of the team factories to do a shoot like Ferrari or the MTC? Yeah, maybe. Not something I yearn for, but would be nice. How smart does Williams look? By bringing in Colapinto, they look like they're legends, not fucking vankers. And I can tell you, the sign prints for Franco have been incredible. Like I thought, it'd be nice if we did 50. Well, we've sold 70. There's only 30 left. And he's amazed too. And I've got this great idea for a photo coming up in Brazil. Let's see if it pans out. He's keen to do it with me. We just have to work out, is it as good a photo as I think? Yes, a lot of people, Alan, are disappointed with RB's lack of respect for Daniel. And maybe down the track, if something happens, we'll go, oh, now I understand. But I don't know. Was Logan actively ever involved with other F1 drivers? Who was he good friends with? Someone, and I can't remember. But I think Logan didn't even want to do the second year. Someone told me that. It was a lot of pressure. He wasn't enjoying it. He was just being hung out to dry each week and struggling. And they probably did him a huge favour in stopping that pain. Tremendous young man, and the sport does put you under tremendous pressure. It puts you in the spotlight. It gives you an opportunity to shine. But if you don't shine, it's savage. Does your son enjoy F1? He loves it. Yes, he likes the photography. He likes being around that buzz. He likes the thrill of working out what the story is for our videos, because he very much plays an important part in focus. What are we talking about? What's going to get people's attention? And that's the thing for us. We've got to work out what the hot thing is. And this year we've made some big changes, and we've worked out a whole lot of strategies that get more engagement, interaction, likes, revenue. So it's all a learning curve. But I can tell you that when things happen like Las Vegas, Carlos and that manhole cover, and I'm there and I see it and I can report on that, or I see Daniel's final situation, I can report on that. That's where the huge videos come from. People can't see what I see, and they're keen to know what it was that I saw. Yes, please like this video, 793. I think we can get that to 850 quickly by you pressing the like button. We're up now to 900 of you here to talk about Daniel Ricciardo and how poorly he was treated at his last F1 race. And I made a conscious decision on Thursday that we would follow him at every opportunity. And we got way more pictures of Daniel than we would normally ever get of him. So thank you to those people who've hit the like button watching this. It's of no real consequence to you to hit it, but it does help with the algorithm. If you could change one thing about F1, what would it be? Nothing comes to mind instantly. Nothing. If you asked me to keep a tab come race weekends, I'm sure I'd find a list of things. Yes, it is quite a musical setup. I play piano, I mentioned this earlier, piano, and I can hack on drums. And my sons play guitar and marimba. But it's just nice having it all there. Did you ever think you'd become such a popular... when I had 10,000 followers on Instagram, one of Jace's friends said, "Oh, Jace's dad's an influencer." I thought, yeah, 10,000, nailed it. No, I didn't think I'd ever get to this. Not when I started, because I didn't even like Instagram. I hated it, and I had no interest in doing YouTube. So the answer is no. I didn't think this would happen when I started. Brian, I never stopped working. That's how. I'm a very good marketer. What is your favourite Grand Prix to go to and why? I've done a video on that. My top races. Go and have a look. I rate them from 24 to 1. Why does F1 not utilise videographers? I never see race content from a handheld camera. They have lots of handheld cameras. Lots. No, I don't know, I'm not sure why you're not seeing that, but certainly they have lots of handhelds. And Jack's a wedding photographer. Other than Suzuka, are there any other photography-friendly tracks? Don't know of any. Last race, I saw someone with a long lens. Or was that Baku? And I thought, how do you get that in there? Y mantente apasionado. If you're a Spanish speaker, you'll know that. Tips or advice for someone going to COTA. Go to kimelman.com and go to my race-by-race guides and read that. Are the drivers as kind as they look in the media? Kind. They're professional sports people who know how to behave. Some are friendly and jolly if you get to know them. Others are more straight up and down the line. None are rude. None are arrogant. They're all good people. Do you have some sunset pics you can show us in the future? Of what, Lancelin? Yeah, well, I look straight out over the Indian Ocean. It's quite, yeah, I've got lots, but I don't tend to put them up on this page. Go to Lancelin. No, I don't do much on their Facebook anymore, but anyway. Couple more questions, then I'm going to call it quits. What does F1 do with all the unbroadcasted footage? I'm not sure. So many cameras, where can we find it? I don't think you'd ever see anything but what goes to air. What is your most affordable F1 picture? Most affordable? You can buy a digital image for not much at prostarpics.com. Print it yourself in low res, or you can get some wall art at kimelman.com. Go and have a look. Jay Cooper's not a fan of Daniel. Will Lando win this year? Well, Lando doesn't know if he's going to win, so you and I got not much chance of working that out. But he's a chance, isn't he? If you had to change career path from photography, what would you do? Travel videos. Which Grand Prix is the easiest to get a Paddock Club ticket? Paddock Club? A less popular one, maybe Bahrain or Saudi. Wouldn't get any alcohol if you're going to Saudi. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, I can tell you right now, you can get tickets still for Vegas. They've got plenty left. Would you like a Perth Grand Prix? Yes. That'd be lovely. I could just stay in my house and drive to the track each day. What a dream that'd be. I applied, Hannah, through the FIA media page and told them what I could do. Simple as that. And one last question before I let you go and do what you were doing prior to you getting here. And by the way, head to kimmelman.com and get one of those remaining 30. Might have actually sold a few more during this live stream of Franco Colapinto or Oliver Bearman or Yuki Tsunoda, Valtteri Bottas, Esteban Ocon, Pierre Gasly, dribs and drabs of all sorts of drivers. One last question, make it an interesting one. Excuse me. What community service do I think Max will be doing? Picking up litter in Monaco. What do you think? Anyway, people, I'm going to thank you very much for paying attention here, and I will wish you a good weekend. And remember, stay passionate.